Hey, it's Mark from dynamitestocks.com and stockpursuit.com. Just wanted to go through a few charts real quick. I'm probably not going to do a really long one today. I'm just going to go through some of the things that I already had on my watch list. So today is pretty exciting with the huge squeeze and a lot of these small caps and small price stocks that are being shorted got squeezed. So a lot of my longer term puts got pretty hit today. So that's not too bad considering I've got these UVIX puts. Like I bought some protection a few days ago and I put that out on the X app that I was buying some UVIX puts just to have some protection in case well, for when the squeeze comes, like this big bounce. So it kind of hinting that for a couple days now, like we saw, the Nasdaq futures traded out of that range that I was looking at the other day, and looks like they even opened up today, pretty bullish, gap up. So the writing has kind of been on the wall for a while there, and the semiconductors. I mean, the semiconductors are actually pretty strong, breaking that downtrend momentum for a while. So I'm not really surprised by a significant update today because a lot of stuff's been acting pretty bullish short term. Like the semiconductors came out of that down channel and they've been in this up channel for a while. And I was saying, it's probably going to come up and test the top of that resistance. So that's going to pull the rest of the market too. And you've got, tech companies doing pretty well with their stock prices doing well, the past couple of days. So the and even the long-term bonds, had a pretty good bounce today too because I was talking about they came off of that support too. They hit this downtrend support. So what I'm looking at now is I put on some SIRI calls because SIRI, when it squeezes the last time it squeezed, it took a while. Like it it doesn't just squeeze, really in one day. Like it kind of had a run up here back in July, and it was pretty slow to get going. Well, actually, it was back in June when in June it started to pop up, and then it just took a while. It went sideways. So it's going sideways right now again too. But the pattern's really good. It's a really good triangle right now. I mean, it's a really good pattern, and the sell volume is really light. Like you look down the bottom, you can see the days where it's been red on the day, the selling volume hasn't been as much as it was on these green days, on these big run days it had earlier. So the momentum's really in the favor of the bulls here, short term. So it's sort of I was gonna call it a speculative trade, but it's really not now because of this. It's got this really good triangle pattern here. So this consolidation's just been working out really well. It's just going. It's like it's in an uptrend now. It's slightly uptrending, and it's up. It broke up above my sort of makeshift line there, because it may even play out a little while longer. It may keep going sideways, but it appears that it's broken out already. So I think tomorrow or the next day it's going to really go. If it does it on this push and not just go sideways some more. Of course, it could fail too, but it's always a possibility. But I really like this setup based on the volume, on the sell volume being light, and the really clear triangle it's got going now. It's definitely a bullish consolidation. So I bought some calls, and I'll probably buy more if it starts to go. If it starts moving like 5-10% on a day. And yeah, a lot of my shorts were pretty hit today, but like a lot of these, it may just end up being a bear flag. I think a lot of these will probably get some more downside, but the interesting thing was the solar stocks. they basically try to do a technical bottom here. So we'll see what happens with that. Like, luckily, I already took those off my puts, so it's not really, it's not much of a short now because they've got some really good technicals going. Well, even that could be, this could be a dead bounce, but uh, could be a bear flag. But we'll see how that goes because the solar has just been down so much. It was just kind of oversold too. But even the SL was up and kind of reclaimed that major line that I noticed. That's that support line. So it looks short-term bullish if it can hold above that line. But I'm not going to be trading those because we've got to see if there's gonna be a lot of follow through in this push. But it looks like these indices want to go higher, and the Russell 2000 broke a downtrend today too. So it could possibly get some momentum too. It's not as convincing as like the Nasdaq, and XHB did what the Russell was trying to do. It pretty convincingly broke above this downtrend channel here, and it's been just the second day it's been above it. So it looks like the momentum shifted as it did. It's kind of similar to the semiconductor chart where this down channel goes and then it just starts breaking up. So I would tentatively say that's the new channel support's going to be around here. But it's going to try to do like another, it's going to try and do an up channel like the semiconductors. Because if it gets up to this support level there, or to that major level there, it's not as bearish as it was before. But it appears, I mean, it seems like the top's in, but we'll see. But I want to talk about this GRTS because I've been watching it run, and it pretty much went supernova now. It went from like $1 to $3, and the print today was really nice. Like, your print's at a shooting star, which is bearish, and it wasn't really above the upper Bollinger Band, so it's not like ideal as a supernova, but there's definitely a short setup here if it breaks below 278. So if we hit 277 area, well, let's just look at the daily to make sure. But I noticed it has liquid options, so it's got 250 strikes puts. So yeah, let's find the level. So that's the level there, right here. That's the big level. 272. Yeah, 272. So it needs to hit 271 to be a breakdown. And it's going that way right now. It's what it did with that shooting star. So it's in this down channel now, and it looks like it's gonna come and test that 272. And the lower one is 266. But I like it short here if it hits 271, 270. So I found out I was looking at the news. The only news they had on the first day it started running. Like, it started running there on this day here, and it looks like it ran off of the. They just got a phase 2. Where's the news story? I'm just looking at the news story here. Excuse me. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was awarded a contract to conduct comparative phase 2 study evaluating next gen vaccine candidate for mRNA for COVID. So it's a COVID mRNA vaccine, which I guess it's a big market, but it's not it's not like there's not other competition. It's not been. I mean, that was kind of the stocks ran on that years ago. You know, it's not really a big. You know, COVID news isn't really as big a deal now. So, but I don't know. It's a pretty small company, but it's still phase two. So it doesn't. It seems kind of fluffy to me. It doesn't seem like enough to warrant 100% price move in a couple weeks. But that's what it's done, and so I looked at the history of it, and so it's a supernova. It's a spiker, you know. So it went from $1 to $3 and change. And when you look at it on a long-term chart, so I'm looking at the long-term chart here, and back in August of 2022, pretty much did the same kind of chart and the same thing, even almost the percentages moves. It it went from like 240 to 4 something, so another 100% move, and that got erased within a couple months, 3 months. It was all erased, and then it had a pretty good move in the fall, summer of 21 that got erased, and it had a big spiker in 21, and that was erased too. Another supernova spike that got those gains were taken down, and there's a lot of little pops too, where there's little pops where it pops up and then maybe a press release or something and then falls down. So, and it did a big one back in 2018 too. It went from 2018. It went from at least 16 to 32. So it seems like 100% move is like the sweet spot based on these charts. Kind of funny, but when you look at the history of charts, you kind of see what you can expect to get out of them. Sometimes when these smaller price stocks, you know, from 1 to 10, 1 to 20. Because I find those pretty predictable. Like, if you're going to predict the price of Apple or Microsoft, your best bet's just to go off of like the Nasdaq. What's the Nasdaq going to do? But with these smaller companies, they're definitely less relative strength sometimes. Well, they go with sector rotation, but basically what I'm saying is they just by looking at the charts, you can tell what they're going to do a lot. But that's kind of how I evaluate supernovas nowadays. So I'm short biased on GRTS, and I may be buying puts if this thing hits 271 tomorrow or the next day. But I mean, it very well could keep going though, because it hasn't really broken any major support days, but like every day it's pretty much up. So it was up today, but kind of messy. So that was an interesting one I found, and so hopefully I'll get some good pops. So I can get better short entries on some of these high conviction shorts, like Domino's, like Domino's. That'd be nice to get a pop up to put on a short or on puts, because that one's got a lot of weakness, and I expect it to be lower. I think it's going to hit this support at some point, like 280s. And that's about it. It's the SIRI and that one. Some of those just caught my eye, especially the SIRI, and that the GRTS is interesting. But I kind of got unlucky. I got a little unlucky with my I put on some extra puts on these some of these charging stocks like the BLNK, but like I was saying, I got a lot smarter, and I put on like longer dated puts. So like with the charge point, I have like November, December, or what was it? Maybe even farther out. think I might have got January's on some of these. Anyway, yeah, I got has some October, but the CHPT I went farther out. So I guess we can look at shippers because I haven't looked at those yet, and I was talking a lot about those. So I'm guessing they're probably green too, or mixed. So my favorite ones were pretty much a little red today, but it's still hanging in there. Like this GOGL, it's up above that major level still, so that's good. If it stays up here, I think it's gonna go. And SBLK, it's kind of the same thing. Well, SBLK actually hit channel resistance. See how it kissed off it perfectly there, off my line. It hit this channel resistance and then just came back down as it should. And it's done that 1, 2, basically 4 times in the past already. So can't expect stocks to go up constantly, and they tend to do in channels. So it's kind of back in the middle. So it's looking pretty good. Yeah, still looking bullish. And SHIP was good today. Wow, SHIP was nice. I don't think I put this one on. Like it didn't have any calls. But that's this is one of the other ones I was talking about in my basket of shippers. Had a really nice day today, and it's clearly broken out of this level channel there. A lot of bullish technicals going. Front line was another one I talked about. Was up, big gap up. I kind of like these other ones better. I mean, I like SHIP right now a lot, and the GOGL. And GLBS is still hanging in there too. It basically looks like a triangle right now. It looks like a flag. We'll see what it does though, because it's already up so much. But I wouldn't be surprised if shippers keep going, that this one goes too. So it's looking pretty bullish still. It's still holding in there. So those are the shippers. And I noticed another one interesting was the Nordstrom. Nordstrom bounced off of that big level there. So I may try to actually hold that, and because it was just so overbought. I mean, it was so oversold. You know, it went from 23 to 13 in like, a month or two. So yeah, in basically a month and a half or less. So it's gonna have some kind of bounce. So that's what it did. And my support level was pretty spot on because I drew this level weeks ago. I think I might have even drawn it back here, just because I knew based on this May level that it was gonna probably hold. So it's hard for me to flip bullish on this one right now, but sure is hanging in there. Sure looks like it wants to find a bottom there, at least short term. And some other ones I always track are the Wayfair. And Wayfair is just in a really nice descending channel. Like it's really wide, but then it's got this, looks like it's got a smaller one going now too. It's actually channeled there. That's what it's channeling in now too. But definitely looking bearish. I'm surprised it didn't actually bounce today, because a lot of these beaten down stocks bounced today. A lot of sectors like solar. But these TKC is still a possible short. And I think the UAE is actually a better one now, because I kind of like the Turkey one better, but but this one looks like all the momentum's gone because it broke this uptrend support right there. Like when it broke that pretty good and then struggled to reclaim it. So it's looking bearish too. Like there's no options on this one, so I don't really know. I don't know any good like companies that would be in this index. Maybe that's worth a look. I might check that out and see what the major holdings are in this ETF. If they're publicly, if they're an ADR. So like an ADR is when they trade on the American stock exchanges. And there's a lot of stocks that do that. Like TKC is an ADR because it's in Turkey, but they trade on one of the American exchanges. So I'm watching the GRTS, SIRI, and I may run some more scans, but nothing really stood out that well, even on the long side. Like 52-week highs, I ran my 52-week high scan. I'll show you that real quick. I ran my combo and 52-week high scan, and the Weight Watchers was like the only one, and that's probably a squeeze too. So and there's all these companies I have no idea what they are. Well, it's SWBI. That's Smith and Wesson. Smith and Wesson's up the past 2 days. Wow. Yeah, but nothing else really doesn't look like nothing really standing out there. But the SWI is kind of interesting. But it's not really a setup technically there. It's just kind of like slow uptrend. So I guess I'll call it a wrap there on the video tonight. Well, the steel case was actually pretty good. This one, it's one of the few 52-week highs that are in my price range. Because it basically did a long triangle there. It's funny how these triangles look the same, right? Like, see how this triangle looks just like the SIRI triangle, the Sirius satellite? It's almost the identical amount of days too, I think. But that's the way they do. When you start to see these patterns, when you start seeing patterns, they all kind of look alike, which is good. So, steel case was a nice triangle breakout. I'm just gonna check out that one because there may be something going on there. Oh yeah, it's a big company too. It's a $1 billion company. Furniture and architectural products. Interesting. Furniture company. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I remember I was talking about the XP Logistics was like a really bullish looking stock, even though supposedly, the economy could be teetering on, some of these possibly like a recession at some point, but it's just kind of it doesn't even seem like a recession. It's just like slow, but the XP Logistics was kind of caught my eye as a bullish indicator, or probably maybe a bullish leading indicator with these trucking companies. Yeah, these fundies look pretty good. Like they boosted their earnings guidance, the steel case, and you got some pretty good growth. Kind of flat revenue growth though, but it's not bad. Let's see what it's got a 3.6% dividend yield. 24 times earnings. Next year, it's even better. Maybe 20 times earnings. It's not bad. Yeah, it's kind of, I've never heard of this company. It's kind of interesting. Steel case. Ah, yeah, it's like some pretty maybe high-end furniture, but it's kind of looks pretty niche. It's like really niche furniture because I guess it is all steel. It's all steel furniture or something. So never heard of this company, but they're doing pretty well. But let's see why it was. Is it really all steel too? Looks like it's all steel. No, it's all they got wood. But it's like I guess they look like pretty specific type of designs. Like I mean, a lot of these are pretty generic, but like I don't see that much. Or well, there's some nice desks. It looks like yeah, it's like cubicle desks. So and if they sell cubicle desks, that's pretty. That means that maybe people are opening offices. Yeah, it looks like they market it as a cubicle. Interesting. So 12,000 employees. Maybe I have heard of this, but like just once or twice. But it's pretty interesting. I'm trying to figure out why it stock's up so much. Because the stock went from like $9 to $11 in like a month. So when was the spike? Spike was on the 20th. Gotta be earnings. Gotta be. Yeah. Yeah, as earnings. Yeah. Well, they kind of alluded to it there. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 19th. Wow, they crushed their earnings. Their their quarterly earnings were 31 cents a share, and the estimate was 17 cents. They beat earnings by 82%. Over the last 4 quarters, the company surpassed consensus EPS estimates 3 times. It's office products. Yeah, it's office products. So there's a lot of things like it's pretty kind of contrary to the narrative of office disasters. You know, like the office space is a disaster. Looks like people are they're either buying new things for their office or they're opening new offices. So it's kind of opposite of what a lot of people think is going to happen, or even me, like with some of these office companies, or I mean, it's office space. So man, that's a huge beat on earnings. Well, maybe they were just down. Maybe their earnings guidance was down, and they just surprised. But I'll look more into that one. But it looks pretty interesting because I mean, it could be that the guidance was lowered and then they beat it. Because it may be like a best to the worst case. You know, good like a silver lining, even though earnings were forecasted down. You never know. Like there's all kinds of things that can happen. Just trying to find that trend. Yeah, I mean, it looks like I'll look at the quarterlies some more, but I'm just kind of looking over the. It looks like revenue growth is pretty good, and it was down in 2021. Their earnings were way down for 2020. Their earnings were in 2021. Earnings were 22 cents a share, and then in 2022 they were 3 cents a share, and now it's back up to 30. And looks like they're consistently reducing their debt. Total debt is down every year past 3 years. You can see it's down, down, down on that total debt line. And yeah, long-term debt is down slightly every year. And I'm just looking at the quick ratio or their current ratio. Well, probably, yeah, quick ratio would be good because they've got a lot of inventory. Just looking at the balance sheet here. Yeah, their balance sheet looks pretty good. And cash is way down. Not sure what that was. Receivables were pretty stable. Their accounts receivables are pretty stable. So it's good. It's not going like sky high or something. So yeah, it looks like they've pretty much reduced their share count past 3 years too. So it looks pretty kind of shareholder friendly. I mean, it's nothing really impressive on the ROE or ROI, but I mean, if they make furniture, it's not really expected to be like hit it out of the park on margins or anything. You look at the margins, really low. Yeah, that's not really good business. But they've done pretty well considering that dividend payouts says 81% here. That could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, the stock's down since 2019. Yeah, it's really stock doesn't do much. Like from uh this is the chart back to 1997 or 1998, and its stock's pretty much flat. But I'm not sure if this is a log chart or what kind of chart it is, or I mean, it looks like they pay dividends too, so it's probably not dividend adjusted. I don't know how they do these, but either way, it's not really super impressive since the past 10 years. But it's in an uptrend. So yeah, nothing really exciting there, but could be a trade. Could be a trade on a breakout. So I like that one as a breakout actually, because it could be squeezing. Let's see if that could be what's going on too. Nah, it's not really shorted. Well, I guess they just had a good quarter. But I mean, you see it's got that nice base. It's got that base I like nowadays. Like it did it's a really long base there. And the earnings are what pushed it over. So yeah, it bottomed out technically there with a bear trap bottom. and then sideways channel for like a year, and then pop. So we got a lot of resistance here. It's gonna deal with. Yeah, I mean it's still a good trade though. If it goes green tomorrow, it's a good trade for like a day or two, maybe a day. So I'll have to add that to my long bias too. But I guess I just give you a peek into how I kind of look at stocks sometimes. Because I usually now look at stocks from a bottom up, so I'll investigate the fundamentals if the technicals are looking good. But they go hand in hand, like I do both, which I think is the only way to do it really. Because you could be missing something. It's like say you just use technicals, say you're a technical analysis person and all you use that, then well if you don't understand what's going on with the fundamentals, then you know you're missing out on what's moving the market. You know, you gotta know what's going on. Like say you're shorting it here because it's it was like a setup there to short, but then the fundamentals improved or something, or the fundamentals really matter, especially over the long term. But I'll just wrap it up. I'll wrap up the video there, and I'll catch you next time.